Hi, my name's Dean Barlow and you join me on the banks of the beautiful River Thames at Wallingford for a spot of waggler fishing. What makes the perfect waggler peg? There's a couple of key areas I like to look at. One is definitely flow. Here on the River Thames, and this particular peg they've chosen today, there's not much flow in the edge. So most of the flow is between the middle and the far bank. Absolutely perfect for waggler fishing. Nice glide down the middle. Hopefully there'll be a few roach and dace there. One of the reasons why I like fishing the waggler is on days like today is the wind. The wind has changed around 3 times in this short session while we've been here, but it enables you to keep fishing your peg. You can change your waggler, different sizes, anything like that. Where a top and bottom, sometimes you can't get it to go through the peg right. So for presentation, a waggler is far better on days when it's really windy. As you can see, I've got my big flash ready. Let's talk about the gear that we need to get to these fish. With the rod, today I've gone for a 15-foot Acolyte float rod. The reason I've chose the 15-foot rod over a 13 or a 14 is more about presentation. The wind today has been swirling everywhere. It allows me to get the float to go through the peg a lot easier. It's about control. If the wind wasn't so bad, I'd go for a 14-foot, even possibly a 13-foot, but on today's conditions, 15-foot will do me absolutely proud. Coupled with a 4,000 size reel. I'm personally not a fan of really small reels, probably because I've got big hands, but I always go for a 4,000 size. I feel like I can peel the line off better to get the better presentation for the swim. 3-pound reel line, not really need to go too thick. If you use too thick a line, the wind can pick it up and that can cause you all kinds of trouble, when the idea is to get the float to glide through the peg. So 3-pound is about right. Now I'll just go down to waggler. Many choices of waggler on the market. I've gone for a crystal because I think they go through the peg better. A nice and thick crystal waggler. This one here is actually what is called a carp crystal, and the difference between this and the conventional crystal waggler is the insert is slightly thicker. On a day like today where I'm going to be dragging a little bit of line on the bottom, I still want the sensitivity of an insert, but I don't want a real thick kind of straight waggler. So it's a bit of a compromise, a slightly thicker insert, and that will get me bait going through the peg nicely. It won't trip over by just knocking something on the bottom, and at the same time it's got the sensitivity that I need to see the bites. Very simply set up. It's a loaded waggler, 4 number 8s around the float. The reason I have 4 number 8s is 2 lock in and then 3 below. I might want to pull them shots down. I'm a great believer, especially on rivers in the winter, that you need to move your shots around to try and intercept how the fish are feeding. So you don't want all your eggs in one basket by just having a couple of shots down. I like to keep things moving, keep changing the way my rig settles and everything like that. And talking of the bottom shots, on this occasion now I've got 4 number 8s with a quick snap swivel on the bottom so I can change my hook length. As the river is absolutely gin clear, I've gone for an 09 double strength hook length and a size 22 B520. So that completes the whole setup. So I've been fishing the peg for about 2 hours now, and the sport hasn't been brilliant, but I've just started to get a few more bites now, so that's the kind of time when you can start messing around with your rig. And there we've just hooked into a nice fish. Like I say, oh, it's come off. That's it. Thought that'd come off then. Look at that lovely roach. That, as I was saying, that the fish have just seemed to come onto the feed, so that gives you the opportunity now to start messing around and finding a better way to catch them. The old adage is, first of all you've got to get a bite and then try and catch as many as you can. It's quite an old-fashioned way of fishing, but now I know where the fish are in my peg. Just Feed a few more there. There seems to be quite a few fish feeding now, so I want to get in. It looks like the bait is going absolutely everywhere, which I don't mind. It is a river. The fish are going to be moving in and out, up and down. I do like to spread my bait. I don't want everything just going in one line. The fish, they get a bit wearier. I don't mind them. A few maggots going a bit astray. I quite like that. He's just covering a little bit more area. There's another one there. They're really on the feed now. Which in turn, when the fish are feeding like this, that's a nice dace that is. I will probably up the feed a little. One thing about the 15-foot rod is, like I mentioned earlier, is the control. And as I said earlier, the wind has been really quite swirly and everything like that. And when you're fishing on a waggler, or even a top and bottom float, as the float's going down, you want to try and keep the line behind the float. 15-foot rod in these conditions is perfect because it allows me to keep the line behind the float, which means that your rig runs nice and smooth. You don't want it move. If you was using a shorter rod, the wind would be catching it, your rig would be going through like that. And on these cold days when the fish are hard to catch, you do have to present it pretty well. And as you can see there as well, it's not just about presenting the line, it actually picks the line up really quick as well. Beautiful roach. Still on light gear, still on a 22 to 09. No need to change yet, as we're not losing any fish. Well, we're coming to the end of the session now. As you can see, the night's drawing in and we're still fishing, because for the last hour and a half the sport has been absolutely brilliant. The roach are really on the feed now. Made some changes to my rig because the fish are feeding so well. Like I said earlier, bought a bulk shot down to get the rig working to where I think the fish are. Even catching on the double maggot now. So, like all winter sessions, you're probably never going to catch a lot of fish early. You're going to have to work at it, find the best way the fish want to be feeding, and just stick at it. And you can end up with an absolute brilliant day's fishing, just how this has been. The fish are moving up towards the bait now. There's one every single cast. Started on a size 22 up to 09, and now I'm fishing a 16, 010 and double maggot, and it's just going under every single cast. It's absolutely brilliant sport. So just because we didn't catch anything for a good hour and a half, 2 hours, doesn't mean the fish aren't there. Just got to remember it is winter and everything just slows up a little bit. Even up the feed now, pouch full of maggots every cast. Because I know where the feed zone is, where the fish are feeding, I'm chucking into the zone because the fish are just ravenous. So even though it was a real slow start, it just shows you in these winter days the sport you can be had by fishing the waggler on the rivers.